Yep. Last stream of the year, baby! Oh, Lord. I wish caffeine worked on me, because I wish I had a little bit more pep, but I'm yeah. It's your duty to bully me. Fair enough. The not-so-distant past. That might be a little too hot. Education, fornication, da-da-da. Ooh! Yeah, any audio level stuff, anything too loud, anything too soft, let me know, please. God damn. In the not-so-distant past, a lone woman from the city was walking along a path lit by lanterns. Frosty? I know what it is. I know what that is. Cool. Awesome. Thanks. A Frosty, cloth in hand, and her steps light. That festival was absolutely booming. It was busy, but it was so fun. Miharu. So's probably having fun right about now. I asked Kuga to take care of her, so everything should be fine, but... The city woman, Miharu, let her... Is she gonna get her hair cut? Not Miharu. That name Kuga. It reminds me of a... Kuga. What does that remind me of? I think it reminds me of a song. Kungen. Yeah, that's it. That's what I was thinking. So every time I'm going to think of his name, I'm now going to think about this song, because when I last played this game, I didn't know this song, but now I do know this song, so yay. I like it, because I like it. He goes, brah, da 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 da, brah, da 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 da, wah. Oh god. The city woman Miharu let her mind wander as she continued walking further and further down the road. Though there were less lanterns and the path became more narrow, she didn't seem to notice. But I wonder why she was making such a gloomy face. I wonder if it's because of work? It can be difficult when you can't find a job. The next time I see her, I should ask her some more questions. She always had the tendency to bottle things up inside. After summarizing her thoughts up to that point, Miharu suddenly stopped walking. Huh? Where am I? Taking a look around, she realized that she was on an unfamiliar path. Seeing that while she had been lost in her thoughts, she had taken a wrong turn. Oh my, I'm such an airhead. Sure is lonely when there aren't any people walking around. Maybe because it's dark? It's kinda creepy. People say they see monsters or ghosts in places like this. Speaking of which, I believe the Kamikiri hasn't been caught yet. If I recall, the rumors say he appears on poorly lit streets at night. How convenient that you're thinking about this right now when you're on a poorly lit street at night. Huh? In an instant, Miharu staggered without warning. She felt a pressure atop of her head, as if something was pushing down on her. What is this? It was so heavy that Miharu was forced to her knees on the ground. This is bad. I have to get away somehow. But even when Miharu tried to swing her arms in retaliation, the culprit did not budge an inch. Worse yet, it pressed a cold, hard object against her neck. Stop! Yeah, they got her hair. They got her hair! Oh. I bet she looked cute with short hair, though. The morning after the 26th night jubilee, the Only Waban's Castletown team gathered in the main hall as per usual. Did the two of you sleep well after what happened? Oh wait, I forgot. Shit. My bingo boos. Wait, let me turn back on stream mode. Because I turned it off just so I could get like the... You know what? If I just... Leave Discord. Go back. Should be fine. Yes. Bring bye. Na 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 na. Lodi 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 lodi. Nope. Stream. Okay, cool. Cool. Did the two of you sleep well after what happened?
Yes, not a problem. Not a problem at all. A proper amount of sleep is of utmost importance if you wish to maintain your health.
Yeah, but...
Hello! Meow!
I'm being hit. Cry. Kuga. I mean... Okie dokie, be safe. I know you don't want to, but be safe. I guess they still need to train their bodies and stuff, but like... I think I'm overthinking it. Haha. Health is a top priority in Oniwaban after all. And how about Yoichi?
Do you even need to ask?
Hey, what do you mean by that? There was no sign of Miyaji here. Without him present, we couldn't have our meeting, so we passed our time by chatting.
In any case, Miyaji sure is late. He's usually here before the meeting time.
He's probably sleeping like she was the other day. His hair is probably all messy like hers, too. That was... It just looked like that because he came in so suddenly. My hair's fine now, see? Not sure about that one. I wish we were on your route. Your route, Yoichi.
You two, be quiet. Speak of the devil, here comes the man himself.
Upon hearing what Kuga said, I listened closely and heard footsteps coming from the hallway. I straightened my posture and gazed at the door leading outside. Oh, yeah, that's Miyaji. I forgot about him. Good morning. Seems everyone's assembled. When Miyaji arrived, he seemed so downtrodden that I became worried just looking at him. The threads at his neck were as blue as he was. Did something happen?
Is something the matter today?
I apologize for my tardiness. I just received a report from the higher-ups. Apparently, the Kamakiri made another appearance last night.
The moment those words came out of his mouth, a sense of urgency ran through the air. It was a sudden change from the calm mood of earlier. Kuga and Yoichi's faces immediately froze.
When did the Kamakiri appear? There weren't any reports of sightings yesterday.
The appearance itself was that night. We didn't notice because the victim was discovered in the early morning.
So that means they were just left on the streets after they were attacked?
Yes, that's right. Made it seem like they killed her.
The casual explanation had left me with an indescribable feeling. Though it was summer, the nights were quite cold. If they were to collapse on the street for an entire night, it must have been very stressful on their body. I wonder if they're alright. Despite the fact that they're a stranger, they are not a stranger.
They were a stranger, I guess, but I still worry for them. No, it wasn't a stranger. It wasn't. You know her. She took care of you. It's your girl. I forgot her name. What's her face?
Whatever. The story alone made me worried for them.
So, who was attacked? The poster girl from the tea stall, Miharu.
Huh?
Huh? The moment I heard those words, a shock ran through me, like I'd been punched in the face. Miharu! I don't like her as much as Maya. And then we immediately ran to the victim of the incident, to Miharu. You see her with short hair?
We hear the victim of the incident is here.
Yes, please come to the back. The servant guided us to the back of the store, and there we saw... Or does she not get a portrait? She got short hair now. She lost portrait privileges. Kuga, thank you for coming. She was there. Mimi, sleeping like the dead, with a tea stall owner sitting next to her. Me? Her hair had been hacked off at the shoulders. On top of that, black threads were wrapped all over her body, forming something of a cocoon. The amount of emotional imprints were incomparable to the first victim we had seen. Though in Otone's case there had been another explanation for the imprints, it was hard to imagine that Mimi had sold her hair or gotten sick. In other words, she had been attacked by the Kamikiri.
Has she remained like this since?
Yes, there's no sign of her waking up. She hasn't moved at all, let alone speak. I've had a doctor look at her, but there doesn't seem to be anything wrong. Maybe a few scratches, but... Looks like it. Nothing's out of place except for the hair. Yoichi brazenly pulled open Mimi's sleeping kimono while examining her body. You can't do that, probably. Sleeping kimono, a type of comforter with sleeves and a collar like a kimono. Scratches that would normally heal immediately for form folk were still present on her body. She's a form folk. She is an object that gained sentience and got a human form because of that. Well, I guess the human form is technically a projection. Soup, what do you make of it? It's pretty bad, I think. I can only give a vague answer to Yoichi. There was no way I could explain in detail here where the storekeeper was. It seemed that Yoichi and Kuga understood that as they refrained from asking her further.
Storekeeper, could you explain what happened yesterday?
Yes. Perhaps because he was still shaken up, the storekeeper nodded anxiously. He then tightened his fists over his knees before he opened his mouth with determination. Yesterday, we opened up a storefront for the festival. I had Miharu help with that as well. And then, when the festival ended, I asked Miharu to close up shop. I went home early with the larger items. After I arrived home, I waited for Miharu to come back, but I guess I fell asleep sometime during the night. When I woke up in the morning, I was baffled. There was absolutely no sign that Miharu had come back. When I hurried to go look for her, that's when I got the notice from the city commissioner.
And you learned about the incident?
Yes, I heard that Miharu was discovered in the early morning. That someone going for a stroll happened to find her. If I hadn't fallen asleep yesterday, Miharu... When he got to that point of the conversation, the storekeeper became choked up. I couldn't see his expression since he was looking down, but judging from the color of his threads, he must have been feeling intense sorrow.
I understand that's all you have to say. Do you mind if we examine her a little more? It may be best for you to leave the room.
Yes, I understand. The storekeeper stumbled unsteadily out of the store. After we watched him leave, Kuga and Yoichi focused their gazes onto me. So, how does it look to you exactly?
Right. Tell us what do your Hakuseki clan eyes see?
I expected them to ask that question, so I told the duo the details of what I saw. She's all wrapped up in black threads, like the cocoon of a silkworm. This is the first time I've seen a person entangled in so many emotional imprints.
Could that be why Miharu is unconscious?
It might mean the Kamikiri is getting stronger. This is clearly different compared to the previous victims. While they conversed, I just stared at Mimi as she laid on the bed. Mimi, who was always so expressive and smiled so cheerily, now looked like a silent doll. But her body wasn't completely lax. Her hands were still clenched tightly. It was an awfully painful sight. Mimi. Though I knew it was useless, I moved my hand to try and get rid of the emotional imprints. Oh, the snow sacrament. If I tried a snow sacrament. Since I didn't know how to perform the snow sacrament, I tried chanting in my heart. Please let Mimi wake up. Please give Mimi back her strength. But it was completely useless. Just like the last time I tried, nothing had changed in front of me. Faced with that reality, I felt acutely aware of my own uselessness. What? Couldn't you perform the snow sacrament to heal her? If these black threads disappear, then Mimi should definitely... We vessels can only destroy Blightfall. Don't you remember what the Shogun said before? That's right. Even though I knew that, I couldn't help but cling to the possibility. Then if we can just defeat the Blightfall, Mimi should be healed immediately, right? She'll be okay, right?
There's no way to tell.
Huh?
Even if we defeat the Blightfall that caused it, there's a chance that she'll never wake up. There have been people like that in the past.
Damn.
The duo's answers were cold and calculated. Because they're vassals! It was as if they were hammering home the reality that in a fight against the Blightfall, there was no easy salvation. And what should I do? What should I do to save Mimi? Maybe I should have insisted she come with me to the festival back then. If I'd done that, Mimi would have never had to walk alone at night.
Just in case, let's go see what the city commissioner has to say. They should be conducting an investigation of the crime scene that might have more intel.
Understood.
Soup, are you listening?
Sorry. Thank God you don't have that annoying-ass lisp anymore. It seemed that the conversation had advanced while I was thinking things through in my head. Even after I gave a rushed answer, Kuga's eyes stared right at me. Almost like he saw straight through my heart.
Do you feel regret? If only you invited her to the festival that time. If only you were with her. Miharu might have been safe. Yes, I'm putting it through your skull. It was your fault. It was all your fault. Is that what you were thinking? 'Cause you're right. It was your fault. Congrats!
That was exactly what I had been thinking. He read my mind so accurately that I couldn't say a word in response.
I'll be frank. It's useless. No matter how much you may regret things, there's nothing you can do at this point. So even though it's your fault, just move on.
He's right. It's exactly how Kuga says. Even if I obsess over what happened in the past, there's no use. But
So, if you're going to think about now.
Huh?
What you must do in order to save the girl isn't what you must do in order to save the girl. Isn't that what we should be thinking right now?
Kuga? One could say those words were characteristics of a vessel whose heart has been sealed away. It was a truly calm suggestion which only considered the reality that was in front of us. But in his own way, I feel that Kuga was trying to encourage me. Even though he said it was like all my fault and that, yeah, you kind of deserve to feel bad, but you just kind of have to move on, but like, yeah. But not really, because those are... It might have been my own imagination. I might have just happened to hear it in that way. But even so, as soon as I interpreted it that way, my heart was set. I'm sorry, I was in the wrong. In order to solve this case, I'll think of only what I need to do now. When hearing my determination, Kuga nodded in a satisfied manner. After that, we were to separate and gather information on our own as per usual. Yoichi returned to his workplace temporarily, while Kuga and I patrolled around town. Like I've been telling you, I didn't see anything. I was having a morning stroll and I just happened to see her collapse on the ground. Other than that, I didn't see any. It seemed that the volunteer police and constables were conducting an investigation around town. We spotted them nearby, speaking with the person who discovered Mimi.
I should go, just in case.
I understand. Then I'll wait here. After Kuga left, I looked around the surrounding area.
Did you hear? The Kamikiri appeared again. That's terrifying. Just what could the culprit be after?
Hair. When I listened in on their conversations, I could hear the citizens' concern. It wants a new wig for itself because it's self-conscious about its bald spots. With a quick look, I could see that the color of their threads were full of anxiety, anger, fear, and other emotions. Amongst them were people whose negative emotions were so heightened that they were about to be dyed black. This can't go on. If we don't catch the Kamikiri quickly, we might end up with more Blightfall on our hands. If that were to happen, then it will be even more difficult to catch the Kamikiri. As I thought that, I noticed that there was a familiar figure standing in the corner of the street. Mitsu. I forgot about her. That's Mitsu, right? She's the form folk who lives with Otone. She must be carrying a deep sense of unease. The threads at her neck are a complex mix of blue and black. I became worried when I saw that and decided to walk towards her. Is something the matter? I'm Soup. You're Mitsu, right? When I asked, Mitsu nodded. It seemed that she was a person of few words, and she didn't open her mouth after that. I never talked to Mitsu before, so there was no helping that. Then maybe I should talk to her? A conversation could help distract her from all this. How has Otone been afterwards? Not good at all. She seemed to be getting sicker and sicker, and it's getting harder for her to hold conversations. Seemed like I picked the wrong topic. Oops. Mitsu answered me. She was completely in the dumps. I could clearly see the black threads separating from her neck and attaching themselves into the emotional imprints around us. Oh no. But Mitsu's worries wouldn't be alleviated unless Otone's condition returned to normal. As I racked my brain figuring out how to console her, Mitsu turned her gaze into the volunteer police conducting the investigation. There has been another victim, right? It seems that way. I can't forgive them. To cut a woman's hair off in such a way. Those words must have come from the fact that she experienced firsthand the sadness of her master, who had also lost her hair. Mitsu trembled with anger as she clenched her hands tightly into fists. I could barely make out the wooden tablet that must have been tied behind her hands. Yeah. Oh, so she's a form folk. That's when I noticed that Mitsu's wooden tablet was slightly chipped at the edges. I heard that their wooden tablets were as important to form folk as life itself. Even though the damage was minor, I wondered whether it would have some sort of effect on her body. Upon closer inspection, I even felt that the wooden tablet itself had become somewhat blackish in color. Is your wooden tablet alright? What? Right there, it looks like it's a little chipped. Are you feeling okay? When I pointed it out with my finger and confirmed the damage, the color drained from Mitsu's face. Thank you very much, I didn't notice. Did it get chipped around here? If you'd like, I can search for the pieces with you. No, it's alright. I should be heading home now. Mitsu quickly walked away, hiding the wooden tag as if trying to protect it. She didn't even give me the time to say goodbye. To form folk, the wooden tablet is fundamental for creating a real body. Maybe she didn't want me looking at it. I don't know why, but I'm kinda wary of her for some reason. I wouldn't be surprised if she ends up being like the kind of villain of this route. She's so pretty, though. She's so pretty. It was just for a second, but it seemed like her threads took on the color of panic. Still, my conversation with Mitsu further fueled the fires of my determination. Yeah, I want to figure out how to help everyone. For Mitsu and Otone's sake. For Mimi's sake. But what exactly should I do? As I tried my hardest to think of a plan, a breeze blew out from nowhere. Because of that, my hair and the sleeves of my kimono swayed as if swimming in the air. While I blankly watched that, a certain thought planted itself in my mind. There's only one thing I can think of, something only I can do. The idea came to me like a blessing from above, and with this single newfound thread of hope, I left the area.
What you gonna do, Soup?
A few bells later, when our investigation came to an end, everyone returned to the base. What did you do, Soup? However.
And so that concludes our report. We weren't able to obtain any key information this time. And I'm gonna blame it on Soup. Why? I don't know. Why not?
Same here. All I could gather were just a bunch of rumors. Gah, thanks, Soup. You suck. How about you, Soup? It was the same for me. There seemed to be more emotional imprints all throughout Castletown, but I think those were from the townsfolk. After hearing the reports, Miyagi let out a big sigh. We're in quite the predicament. If only Miharu was conscious, maybe we could have learned something. Right. Up to this point, we were only able to get testimonies from the victims. So, what are we gonna do? Doing nothing will only give us more victims. And with the Kamikiri growing stronger, I wouldn't be surprised if the next victim is found dead.
If only we could at least encounter the Kamikiri when they return to the crime scene.
And it's not like this is something that can be solved with more manpower. Brrr. As I listened to everyone's conversation, a certain fact started to form in my mind. If nothing changes, it'll be impossible to defeat the Kamikiri. I guess I have no choice but to use that method to solve the case. What is that method, Soup? When I made up my mind, I shot my hand up in the air.
Pick me! I got a suggestion!
What is it?
How about I act as bait? You wanna be a masturbator?
The atmosphere completely turned frigid at my off-the-cuff suggestion. In particular, Miyagi anxiously grabbed my shoulders, looking incredibly pale. What are you saying? I can understand that you're upset because your friend is a victim, but that's going too far. I'm not acting out of desperation. Everything considered, I thought this was our best option. 'Cause I know the only one bun, got long-ass hair, could see threads. In order to convince Miyagi, who looked worried, I calmly and carefully chose my words. If I become emotional here, there was no way anyone would listen to me. When I looked at Yoichi and Kuga, they were listening to me as if nothing was wrong. Yoichi mentioned before that there are 3 shared traits between the Kamikiri victims, right? First, they're all women. Second, they all have long and beautiful hair. And I think my hair is pretty darn beautiful. And lastly, they were all attacked at dusk. Technically, I meet all of the conditions. Though I'm not sure if my hair is beautiful. But if it's nighttime, I don't think they would see my hair that well. So long hair alone should be enough. If I were to walk alone at night on the streets, chances are the Kamikiri would show up, right? That's true, but... I explained as much and gently held Miyagi's hands and lowered them from my shoulders. It seemed that Miyagi was racked with confusion. As if to show that state, the threads on his neck were a mix and jumble of various colors. But why do you suddenly decide to? I answered the question honestly.
Choice, huh?
It's stuck in my head now. I'm just doing what I can, man. I've thought about it. I actually have thoughts, believe it or not. What I should do in order to save Mimi. What I should do to prevent any more victims. And naturally, this is the method that I came up with. That's all there is to it. Don't look back at the past, but rather think about what must be done now. It's because of Kuga's advice I was able to come up with this plan. Perhaps because Kuga knew this too, he stared at me with a serious expression. I wasn't even eating anything. He usually just stares at me like when I eat stuff. I slowly let out my breath in order to make a final point. But I cannot pull off this plan alone. Unless I have everyone's cooperation, we won't be able to defeat the Kamikiri. So, please agree to help me out on this. A voice echoed in the quiet room. For the first time, I felt like Yoichi and Kuga's expressions changed just a little. But in contrast to them, Miyagi's brows furrowed.
No, I'm sorry, but I can't allow that.
Why?
Because it's just too dangerous. You're not used to fighting, and there's no way I let a novice act as bait. If you lost your life as a result, I wouldn't be able to know what to say to the Shogun.
Is it because I'm part of the Hakuseki clan?
There's that too, but I'm genuinely worried about you. After this incident, I kept worrying about whether my wife or child could be attacked next. As my subordinate, you're no different. So your suggestion is...
I think she should try it. Just when Miyagi was about to shut down the conversation, Yoichi, who had been silent up till now, butted in. Miyagi blinked owlishly at the unexpected interruption.
Yoichi, what are you...
I don't know if she can pull off being the bait, but... well, if we help her, then that shouldn't be an issue. We taught her some martial arts just in case. So at the very least, she'll be able to run away from the enemies, isn't that right?
Yeah.
I grabbed at Yoichi's unexpected lifeline. Really. Then Kuga, who was standing at Yoichi's side with a cool expression, also began to nod quietly.
Lord Miyagi, I also agree with her suggestion.
And Juro, you too?
What she's saying is right. There's no other way to solve the case in this situation other than to draw them out as bait with bait. A master baiter.
But... I probably couldn't accept it from an emotional standpoint. Miyagi still refused to agree.
Lord Miyagi, she is no longer our guest. Soup is now a member of the Oniwaban. Protecting the citizens of Edo is her duty. This is the first decision she's made since she's joined us. Should we be lending her our strength? Please, Miyagi, I want to help everyone too.
As I made a last-ditch effort to plead my case, Miyagi lowered his head as if in thought. I could only assume that he was torn between following his conscience or sense of duty. But, after what felt like an eternity, Miyagi slowly raised his head.
I understand. I'll accept it.
Miyagi nodded his head, albeit begrudgingly. Though he must not have wanted to accept the plan, he likely understood that it was the only logical option. Thank you very much.
But if you ever feel in danger, I want you to back off immediately, regardless of the plan's success. Do you understand?
Miyagi said empathetically that I, as well as Kuga and Yoichi, nodded. And that was how the decoy strategy I presented became a reality. That night, the wind feels lukewarm. A step forward, then another step. I was walking alone a pitch-dark road. The road where Mimi had reportedly collapsed was oozing with spiderweb-like emotional imprints. As soon as we got permission from Miyagi, we finished our discussion and decided that the strategy will be put in place that day. I couldn't see them, but Kuga and Yoichi were supposedly hiding nearby. While Miyagi wasn't participating in the plan itself, he had made arrangements from behind the scenes so that we could pull it off smoothly. There isn't anyone at all. Considering what happened yesterday, I guess the townsfolk wouldn't be walking around at night. Which means I should look pretty appealing to the Kamikiri right about now. How did Mimi feel like walking here yesterday? When she was attacked by the Kamikiri, how terrified must have she been? What she has been. Mimi. As I thought about Mimi, so too did I think of the many, many memories of her past. I could remember when we first met, as well as when we lived as sisters in the village, the days we used to spend laughing with each other. The clearest memory of them all was when she was chased out of the village and had to leave. Mimi, are you really leaving? I'm sorry, Soup. I can't be in this village anymore because they found out that I'm a form folk. Don't make that face. Munenori's still here, so you'll be alright. You might even be able to make some friends. I don't need them. I don't need any friends except you, Mimi. When everyone looks at me, their threads become a weird color. I mean, you're the only one. You're the only one who talks to me like I'm a normal kid. If you're gone, then Soup. I'm sorry. I know you'll feel so lonely because of me. But you know what I think? I think that there's a good reason why you were born with that power. A reason? I mean, think about it. It's because you have that power you were able to more deeply understand people. So, you'll be able to find someone you trust from the bottom of your heart, aside from Munenori and myself. I'm sure there are plenty of people out there. And if you do find someone like that someday, I'd be so happy. Right. Mimi's always thought about me. She never seemed to dislike interacting with a child like myself. The reason I have this power. It must be so that I can protect people like Mimi. It must be so that I can meet more friends that are just like her. I won't let Mimi die. No way. I'll definitely defeat the Kamikiri. It was at that moment. The emotional imprints scattered around the area started to rustle and move. Could this be... I immediately stopped and observed them. One by one, the black threads wriggled like snakes as they gathered in the far-off distance. And there, as expected, a familiar black shadow stood. I tried to observe the figure, but it was unfortunately too dark to see it clearly. I could just barely make out that they had a feminine figure, but... The Kamikiri was a woman? It's gotta be... I forgot her name already. It's not Otane, but... It's gotta be her. She's the only one with a character portrait. But this feeling is exactly the same as when I encountered them last time. Even while I was carefully observing them, the emotional imprints wrapped themselves around a mysterious silhouette like a cocoon. And then... Within an instant, the Kamikiri appeared from within the cocoon. Judging by the fact that it had an original form, it was likely to blight! Hi, Oden. The Blightfall was the result of a human transformation. It was intimidating. The inhuman monster roared at close range, and I was forced to catch my breath. But this was neither the time nor place to get scared. Gulp. Since I lured out the Kamikiri, my job is finished. I have to run away. But, oh, but in an instant, multiple hair-like tentacles reached out for me from all sides. I don't like where this is going. I never even thought that it would be able to control so many tentacles at once. Oh, in a blink of an eye, I managed to grab my limbs and I was slammed down against the ground. Completely let my guard down. Think that the tentacles could stretch like that. This is it. I mean, it's kind of sort of looking like one right now. I should have learned how to dodge lots of attacks from Yoichi. Is there any way I can escape from here? The tentacles had an elastic quality and I couldn't tear them apart. And because the tentacles were holding me down, I couldn't even take out the dagger that was supposed to be my saving grace. Not only that, the tentacles appeared to be able to suck the energy out of whoever they tied up. I was beginning to see stars in my vision and felt like I could faint if I relaxed. That was only in the last few seconds.
Ah, we're here! Sorry we took so long. Let's go, Yoichi! Let's go!
Understood. And Kuga and Yoichi leapt out from the shadows of the alleyway. Took you fucking long enough. Fuck you. The two of them had already unsheathed their swords.
Vessels!
The two of them had already unsheathed their swords. It seemed they had planned on defeating him in one fatal blow. However, as soon as the Kamakiri took notice, it started to withdraw its tentacles.
I am not.
However, as soon as the Kamakiri took notice, it started to withdraw its tentacles, pulling me along with him. It was going to use me as a shield.
Yoichi!
Yeah, I know. Of course, since it had done that, Kuga and Yoichi couldn't swing their swords. Well, they could. The two of them redirected their swords at the last second and instead sliced off the tentacles around us. Thanks to that, the tentacles binding me loosened up just a little.
Now!
Using that opening, I pulled out the dagger that was still hanging from my ubi. So long as I have a weapon, I can escape on my own.
No way!
But it seemed like it had no intention of letting its hostage free so easily. Kamakiri made what I could only describe as a scream and immediately sent several tentacles my way. How many fucking tentacles you got, you freak? You're a freak! Must have wanted to reinforce its bindings. Banana? What should I do? I can't escape with that many coming at me. If I don't do something. Soup, watch your enemy's movement carefully. Remember, watch the base, not just the tip. Not the tip! As soon as I heard that voice, the confusion and panic in my mind instantly vanished, replaced with a calm sense of order. What, Odin? At the same time, my head played back all of the things I've learned in training. That's right! Ah, of course. Yoichi taught me about this time and time again. When I dodge an attack, I look at the joint of my opponent's arm, and then you fall in the same direction as where you were attacked. By the time Yoichi nodded at me with certainty, I had escaped safely from the tentacles. At the same time, I thrust my dagger into the tentacles that lost their prey. I don't suppose it was an impressive attack from the Kamakiri's point of view, but seemed to have a great effect in creating an opening in the enemy. Let's get this over with.
Kamakiri, your life ends here!
Of course, there was no way the two of them would have missed that. Before the Kamakiri could regain its footing, the two charged in as if they were intersecting each other, and slicey, they succeeded in breaking the mask. They did it. As its death roar sounded out, black threads started separating from the Kamakiri's body bit by bit. Its body, which had looked like nothing more than a grotesque monster, slowly returned to a human form. It's gonna be her. It was no longer able to maintain its blightful appearance, I assumed. All that was left was to arrest the human and unmask the Kamakiri's true identity. Huh? But contrary to our predictions, the Kamakiri completely dissolved into thin air and vanished. The Kamakiri's true human form was nowhere to be found.
Where could it possibly...
They might have been hiding nearby. Let's go.
Right.
But strangely enough, after that, no matter how much we searched the area, we couldn't find the culprit. No wooden tablet or anything? Afterwards, while Kuga went to give the report, Yoichi and I immediately ran to the tea stall. Of course, it was to confirm Mimi's safety. Mimi! Oh, dear. Why is your hair back? I thought your hair was cut. Oh, dear. Soup? We ran through the store and went to the back room where we saw Mimi in the midst of getting up from her futon bed. Though she was rubbing her eyes in a dazed manner, her eyes were able to follow us. What do you mean fucking back to normal? I wanted to see her short hair. which cut short when I saw her the afternoon was already back to normal. Mimi, are you feeling okay? Does it hurt anywhere? I'm a little sleepy, but I don't feel any pain. Don't worry. As I entered the room and drew closer to her, Mimi smiled at me as if trying to calm me down. Miharu woke up? Yes, that's right. She woke up a few moments ago. Upon seeing Mimi safe and sound, it finally felt like we solved the case. She must have been freed from the curse after we defeated the Kamakiri who put the curse on her, and she was freed from the curse that was put on her for the Kamakiri. Yeah, the curse. The other victims who had been talking about their sickness must have recovered as well. Hi there, Lumi. How you doing? I'm so glad. I'm really so glad. My, what's the matter? You're crying like a child. And here I thought you'd grown up already. Tears welled up in my eyes from all my emotions, and Mimi put her arms around me to give me a hug. But then... oh dear. Before that, Mimi stopped in her tracks. When I looked up to see what was wrong, she was staring at the palm of her hand with a curious expression on her face. What's wrong, Mimi? Wait, do you still feel unwell? No, that's not it. It seems I've been holding on to something this whole time. Now that you mention it, Mimi, you've had your hand clenched the entire time you were passed out, right? Is that related? Was that what happened? But when did I get this? When I peered at what Mimi was staring so intently at, I saw what appeared to be an old piece of wood. Oh, it's a piece of... yeah, it's the piece of the fucking... the piece of the... the piece of the fucking piece of the... it's the piece of the... wooden tag of that girl that I fucking forgot her name. Piece of the wood... On top of it having a blackish color, there were a few emotional imprints clinging to it. Whatever it wasn't good news. Mimi, where did you... I wonder where. I remember now. I picked it up when I was attacked by the Kamakiri. Back then, I tried to fight back by swinging my arms, and then they dropped this thing. It's the wooden tag. Yes, that's right. I was holding on to this whole time. Mimi, you have a wooden tag. You should recognize. So that piece of wood is evidence. It's hard to tell where exactly the thing came from. The black piece of wood was in Mimi's hand. As I looked at it, I felt a bizarre sensation. I've seen this somewhere before. Because it's the wooden tag! That's right. What I saw back then must be... Yoichi peered at me, curious to see why I suddenly fell silent. Does it ring any bells? Yoichi, I know what this is. You're joking. I'd never joke at a time like this. Go get Kuga. We have to go to this thing's owner immediately. Got it. I came back to my senses and asked Yoichi, who immediately got moving. I forgot her name. Meanwhile, Mitsu. Master, I brought you water. Otone silently continued to sleep in the room, lit only by a candle. Even when Mitsu talked to her from her side, she continued to lie there as she couldn't hear a thing. She'd become almost like a mere object. Mitsu gazed upon her master, looking melancholic. Master, why won't you answer me? Why won't you drink any water? Do you not like me anymore, Master? Master? But that was when Mitsu noticed. She noticed that Otone's breathing had almost completely stopped. Master! Master, please wake up! Please don't die and leave me alone like this, please! Cough, cough, cough. But the second she latched herself onto Otone, Mitsu curled up in pain. By the way she coughed, this was a clearly dangerous act that would likely shorten her lifespan. Master. Master. Then Mitsu, on the verge of tears, placed her hands against Otone's cheek. Otone's skin was already becoming cold as a corpse. Though she didn't want to believe it, that one simple touch had made it clear that her master was going to lose her life. Your name. I want to say master's name, but why can't I remember it? It's Otone. Someone please help me. Mitsu, it's Otone, Mitsu, it's Otone. Mitsu quietly began shedding tears, embracing her master's body as it grew even colder. The deeper Mitsu's despair was, the darker her vision became. It seemed that there wasn't much left of Mitsu's life. That moment, as if pulling her consciousness from the depths, the doors behind her slowly opened. She turned back in a slow and languid motion, but she couldn't see clearly due to the black light. As she blinked again and again, the figure's silhouette became clear.
It's Soup!
So it really was you. Strangely, the person glared at Mitsu, almost accusatorily. It's Soup. In simple terms, they were in the black thread woven nest of a Blightfall. A pitch dark space where not even a sliver of moonlight could shine in. Mitsu was curled up in its center, and she turned back in a stilted motion. You are... Mitsu was nestled against a black cocoon as if protecting it.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Mitsu was nestled against a black cocoon as if protecting it. That cocoon was most likely Otone. To my eyes, she seemed so shackled by the black threads that I couldn't even tell if she was human. That was how badly she was imprisoned by the emotional imprints. Without saying a word, both Kuga and Yoichi approached silently. Their hands were placed firmly on the sheaths of their sword. What is it? What do you plan to do to Master?
If you stay still, we won't have to draw our swords. There's just something we wish to confirm.
After he made his one-sided request, Kuga forcibly grabbed Mitsu's left hand. When he did so, I could see that she still had the broken wood tablet tied around her wrist. The room was dark and I couldn't see clearly, but the wooden tablet appeared stained black like I thought. Stop! Don't touch my tablet! Naturally, Mitsu twisted to get away. But being caught by one hand, she was powerless. Kuga took out this black piece of wood from earlier and matched it against the missing part of the wooden tablet. It was a perfect match. So then that means...
Mitsu, so you were the Kamikiri.
At Kuga's quiet but clear accusation, Mitsu's eyes widened. I'm the Kamikiri? It was believed amongst the Waniwabon that formfolk were unable to become Blightfall. Normally, one would have to assume that the owner of the formfolk with the corrupted tablet, Otone, would be the Kamikiri. But after Otone collapsed from her sickness, her neighbors testified that she hadn't set a single foot out of her house. In other words, there had been no way for her to even commit the crime. No way for her to commit her crimes. If that was the case, it was natural to think that Mitsu herself was turning into a Blightfall.
Blah, blah, blah.
Please, Mitsu. If you're really the Kamikiri, own up to your crimes. You could be the one causing Otome to be in so much trouble. However, Mitsu didn't respond to our calls and merely lowered her head. A hair-raising tension filled the area. Even though we defeated it once, we hadn't yet dealt the final blow. That was why Mitsu was here without any injuries. Which means we can't say that there won't be another battle here. Come to think of it. But within the charged atmosphere, Mitsu slowly raised her head. Her expression was not the painful one of earlier. It was brand new, fresh, like a weight has been lifted off her shoulders.
I've been having these weird dreams lately. Is any of this for real or not?
You're giving me so many things.
Okay. I've been having these weird dreams lately.
Dreams?
A dream where I cut people's hair. I appear from behind women walking at night and I hold down their heads. I've seen that dream so many times, but to think that they're real. Mitsu seemed to have already acknowledged her guilt. Judging from her listless attitude, she didn't seem intent on fighting back. After Master cut her hair and became sad, I kept on thinking. Maybe I could take someone else's hair and make a wig for my master. But there was no way I could leave Master's side, and I didn't have money, so there was nothing I could do. Is it my fault that Master is sick? Because I'm here, Master is... As her words continued to flow, emotional imprints slowly welled up from Mitsu's feet. Mitsu's emotions towards Otone! I hate Dark Educator.
Yay, you're alive!
Mitsu's emotions towards Otone were so strong that they had most likely turned her into a Blightfall. As proof, the emotional imprints springing forth from her were tangling themselves obsessively around Otone.
We gotta kill her, boss.
We're gonna have to kill this guy.
No.
No choice but to break the tool.
Huh?
It's like what she says. To save Otone, we have to do something about Mitsu herself. To do that, we gotta break the form folk's weak point. The tool that she's made from. The way I see it is the only way.
And apparently, when a form folk becomes a Blightfall, bringing their mask alone doesn't seem to do the trick. You saw it in the battle earlier, did you? In the end, the Kamakiri vanished into air, which means we have to do something about the main body. It would be best to exterminate her before more people are hurt.
Mitsu, you okay with that, right? We're gonna kill you. Is that fine with you? And Mitsu glanced at Otone next to her. It was too dark for me to see anything, but I guessed that she was able to see the face of her bedridden master. As she caressed Otone with a quivering hand, Mitsu raised her head as if she made up her mind. I understand. I'll accept everything. Then Mitsu gently took out a box from her inner pocket and opened it up. It appeared to be sewing supplies. Inside was thread, a pincushion, and a pair of thread-cutting scissors with emotional imprints attached to it. This pair of scissors is the tool that I was made from. Please protect my master and exterminate me. The weight of her crime she committed as well as her desire to protect Otone seemed to have made her willing to accept her death. There was no hesitation in Mitsu's face.
Wait a second.
But then I hurriedly barged in between the two, and in Kuga's place I took the pair of scissors.
Soup, what are you doing?
It's true, if we exterminate Mitsu, then this case is solved. The Kamakiri will never appear again. But will Otone be happy with that?
What? Who the fuck cares? She's dying.
Otone seems to really care about Mitsu. Even if her sickness is cured, I think she'll be sad if Mitsu isn't here. Upon hearing that, a complex look came over Mitsu's face. In her heart of hearts, she must have not wanted to say farewell to Otone. She had only accepted it because there was no other way. That's probably true, but now's not the time to be saying that.
Unless you have some other idea.
Could you let me try something just once?
Try what?
The snow sacrament. And the two of them widened their eyes just a little. My answer was probably beyond their expectations.
How many times do we have to tell you? The snow sacrament can only destroy its target. It's impossible to save someone who's become a Blightfall.
That's true for a vessel. But there's a chance that a snow sacrament conducted by a member of the Hakuseki clan could be different.
When I used it on someone who wasn't a Blythefall, on Mimi, it was a failure. But what about using it directly on the Blythefall themselves? Please, I'm asking you to let me try it. Can you use the Snow Sacrament? I don't remember. You're acting like you can. Oh. I just cracked my ear. Kuga and Yuichi looked at each other with troubled expressions. I mean, it's worth a shot. I mean, if you fail, we're just gonna kill her, which is the original plan.
Indeed, we call it an opportunity to assess the Hakuseki's power. Let's have her try it out.
They nodded to each other as if convinced, and then both Yoichi and Kuga took a step back. It's alright. Please leave it to me. She wasn't able to follow the conversation. I clutched his scissors in front of Mitsu, who was still spawning emotional imprints. Then I placed my other hand into my chest, in order to sort through my own thoughts. When everyone does the Snow Sacrament, it looks like they imbue power in the blade and use it to cut through stuff. But I'm not doing this to hurt anyone. It's to save them. In that case, my Snow Sacrament should be, My determination was firm. In the same position, I closed my eyes and started a prayer in my mind. When it came to praying, I've done it the entire time I was living in my village. At the time, I was only able to think about what was happening to myself, but it's different now. Ever since I arrived in Edo, I had so many new encounters. I've learned that there were so many people living in this world, and that I was living with them too. So now I can pray for others from the bottom of my heart. Dear Jesus, I pray that Mitsu and Otone can get better. That the two of them can continue to live peacefully from now on. The sins that the Kamakiri committed may never be forgivable. But even so, I thought it was wrong that she would have to pay for it with her own life. Then in that moment, the palms of my hands housed a gentle heat. The power of fucking prayer. Fuck. So she could use the Snow Sacrament, I guess. I opened my eyes and surprised at the warmth. Like, the Snow Sacrament is warm? I would have thought it would have been cold.
The fuck?
No way. As the light grew stronger, the emotional imprints that covered the entire room evaporated as if melting away into the air. Well, I guess it'll make sense that she could do that, because like when she could see the emotional imprints, she can purify them, I guess. They were then cleanly wiped away, not only from Mitsu herself, but from Otone's body as well. Mitsu? After the emotional imprints had fully disappeared, Otone quietly murmured. Though she was blinking heavily, her eyes were clearly focused on Mitsu. Master? What's the matter, Mitsu? You look so worried. Otone gently stroked Mitsu's head. As if she was cherishing a valuable treasure. Master. As she did, so too did tears start to well up in Mitsu's eyes. She was finally able to accept the reality in front of her. Her expression was full of relief. Why are you acting so polite? Call me Otone like you always do. Otone? Otone? That's right, Mitsu. We're family, remember? Otone! And then the two of them went on to hug tightly and kiss and scissor. Not a single emotional imprint was left on the scissors that were left in my hand. Seeing as the emotional imprints had disappeared from the room, it seemed that Otone's sickness really was being caused by Mitsu turning into a Blythefall. That was a Snow Sacrament just now.
You think that would activate in such a way?
Yuichi and Kuga watched the sight, their eyes sparkling with astonishment. And that was how the Kamakiri case was peacefully resolved. Boring. The Kamakiri. That was the name of the street slasher that would cut off the hair of women walking alone at night. Though there were numerous victims, one day the culprit vanished, never to be seen again. Some said that one of the Shogun's samurai defeated it. Others said that, after collecting its bounty of hair, the monster was satisfied and moved on to the afterlife. Luckily, the victims will all recover immediately, and so the citizens of Edo came to forget that the incident ever happened. Indeed, peace had finally returned to Edo.
Yeah.
Alright, thank you for waiting. Here's our store specialty for you. Steve tea and dingo. Dingo, dongo. As usual, the tea stalls poster girl's cheery voice sounded out in the air. But unusually, there was only a single group of customers in the store. And the reason for that was... Dom, they're all eating together. Today's on me, so order as much as you like. I'll bring you lots of snacks and tea.
Oh my god. I can watch Soup eat. Thank you for the food!
Yoichi, this dango here is pretty delicious. Want to try some?
Nom 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 nom. He's already shoving it into his face. We're holding a party celebrating Mimi's full recovery. On top of a full reservation just for us, the tea stall was covering all the expenses as a show of gratitude for solving the case. What, you want this dango too? I'm not that greedy for food, okay? Right, Kamame? We just want to gracefully enjoy our tea. Wait, Kamame's there? Kamame! I haven't noticed you!
Kamame! Look at the birdie. Look at the birdie. Birdie, 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 birdie.
Yes. Kamame, however, was rapidly pecking at the rice in my hand.
Kamame.
Graceful, huh? Kamame, I prepared lots of rice, so don't be modest and eat your fill.
Kamame.
The adults next to us, Kuga and Miyagi, were calmly enjoying their tea.
This tea in this store really is delicious.
It's my first time here, but it's really something. I should invite my wife and daughter next time. In any case, I'm so glad that this case was solved without any problems. The Shogun was pleased as well.
So what happened to Mitsu and Atone?
Oh, we killed them.
A number of months had passed since then, but they still hadn't decided on what to do with Mitsu. It was something that had always bothered me, so I took the chance to ask.
Oh, those girls. As punishment, we decided to have the two clean up crime scenes indefinitely. Don't be paid, of course. So yeah, they get to like mess with all the gory bodies and stuff. Ain't that fun?
Which means
they'll probably be able to live modestly for the foreseeable future.
I'm so glad. So for punishment, you gave them a job that makes them live comfortably. Cool. In other words, the shogunate has saved Otone and Mitsu under the guise of punishing them. Yippee! Where they had to sell their own hair to survive before, their lives would now be much more stable. Speaking of, I sure was surprised to think that Soup was working for the shogunate. I'm sorry, Mimi. We couldn't immediately tell you the truth. Oh, it's fine. After all, it's a secret job. Still, I'm glad that you found proper work. You had me worried when you were doing that weird training. Yeah, sorry. At the time, we managed to convince her with this heavy-handed explanation. Normally, you'd be worried if your unemployed sister was undergoing training. Plus, I was surprised to hear about Yoichi. All this time, I thought you spent your time playing, but now I hear you were doing such amazing things. Kuga was always a samurai but a serious person, so it didn't feel too out of place. Well, yeah, work is work.
I have to say, Soup did a fine job this time. To think that he could return a Blightfall to normal. This might even be a first in only Wabon history. You moved very well. You moved very well as bait too. I will dare say you were a masturbator. I bet we'll be seeing more of that in the future. I hope so. Yeah.
He said it so casually, but I couldn't help but feel embarrassed at Kuka's words. I worried about a lot of things during my time in the Oniwaban, so the straightforward praise made me ecstatic. But I received this praise because Yoichi trained me in the first place. I should show him my appreciation again. Once I reconfirmed those feelings, I once again faced Yoichi, who was still chewing on his dango. Yoichi, I wanted to thank you for training me in the martial arts. Thanks to you, I was able to manage. Shut up, I'm eating. But all Yoichi did was glance at me before he silently continued eating his dango. As expected, it would be difficult to have a normal conversation with Yoichi. But I was able to convey my feelings, and that's all that counts, right? Well, I was calling a pass a grade. Huh? But right when I was about to give up, I heard him mutter I heard a mutter that sounded like he was talking to himself. Baffled, I turned around and Yoichi was staring straight at me, albeit in an annoyed manner. Let's see if you can keep it up. Oh, right! Never even thought that I'd hear such clear words from Yoichi. Kuga and Yoichi both accepted me as one of them. I was overcome with happiness. As I basked in my joy, I noticed that everyone around me was watching me with kind eyes. I'm sorry, I was being so noisy all by myself. And I know, like, Kuga is a weird feeder guy, but why are the rest of you staring at me? It's weird. No, it's fine. Makes me feel much more relaxed knowing that you seem to be fitting in well, Soup. That's right. I'm happy so long as you're having fun. Me. Miharu, bring over the new tea that came in.
Okay, da!
You goofed? Oh no. Is everything okay? Mimi took the tray she had in... Oh no! I've done that before. God. That sucks. Dang, yeah, you done goof. Oh, come on. Get the fuck out of here, fucking bug. Get out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out. Mimi took the tray she had in her hand and returned to the back of the store. After he saw her off, Miyagi leaned towards us a little. Did he have something he wanted to talk about in secret?
Nevertheless, I've been in the Oniwaban for a long time, and this is the first time I heard of a form folk becoming a Blatfall.
I agree. It's been said up to this point that form folk had no reasons for becoming Blightfall, but...
Maybe Mitsu was just special? Not necessarily. No matter how you looked at her, she was just a normal form folk. She was a basic bitch.
Perhaps there was something operating behind the scenes. Someone even capable of turning form folk into Blightfall.
Is someone like that?
Anyway, the future, proceed with your missions with caution. Make sure that you don't let your guard down.
We nodded firmly at Miyagi's words. Oh, we're on Kuga's route, finally.
Bruh, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da,
Kungan. A few months had gone by in the blink of an eye since we saw the Kamikiri case. It was still early summer when I first came to Edo, but now it was an entirely different season, bringing with it more and more chilly days. Hey, sweetie, we got a great catch today. What's Jin having for supper tonight? Jin. Oh, looks delicious. I have to make other stops to make it. I still have other stops to make today, so maybe next time. Goodness, you're on your own again today? I haven't seen you with Kuga much at all lately. I'm much more used to coming here now, so I've been trying to bother my master as little as possible. He makes you call you master though? What kind of kinky shit are you doing? That's a great attitude to have. You gotta knuckle down and work hard now that you gotta serve a great samurai like Kuga. I will. You might be related, but didn't he go out of his way to hire you? You gotta... Oh, yeah. Did they say that? So, if they, like, start having a thing, it's gonna be kind of awkward.
You might be related, but didn't he go out of his way to hire you? You gotta be head and shoulders above any other girl. Not that you need us to tell you. You expertly sidestepped my sales pitch, which only proves it.
I didn't mean it like that. Having tight purse strings is a good thing. Besides, maybe somebody else around here is selling bigger, more delicious fish.
Harsh, but at least I'd take a good look at what I got if you're going to say that. Just brought these in for the Riverside Fish Market. They're perfect raw or grilled.
Drawn in by his assertive sales pitch, people walking down the main street and even people who live behind the shops drop by to take a look. I can't believe he turned a simple conversation to a sales pitch like that. I have a different job, but maybe I can learn a thing or two from his drive to produce results in any situation. Right, the thing I really needed to keep in mind here wasn't tightening my purse strings or doing my best as a servant. It was patrolling Castletown to check on townsfolk, blending in, and being careful not to let anyone figure out my true identity as a member of the Oniwaban. As the Oniwaban, are they gonna kill me? And that's not gonna be fun. This was my second most important duty at the moment after slaying Blightfall. This is my second most important duty at the moment besides slaying. Since it'd be much too suspicious for a woman who wasn't anybody's wife, daughter, or employee to loiter around town, I introduced myself as Kuga's servant. While working on the Kamakiri case, I assumed I'd end up at Yanagi Brewery where Yoichi worked. Apparently, there's been some contention over Kuga patrolling all of Castletown because of how large it was, so they decided to add me to the roster. Also, I wasn't on the other guy's route, so I have to be with Kuga. Unfortunately. I haven't done any servant work though, and I'm still living at the Oniwaban base. I feel like telling people I'm Kuga's servant has helped me fit in way faster than I expected because he's so popular around here though. Occasionally saying hello to the people and talking with them probably also helped forge some of those relationships, I'm sure. Most of the people who talk to me just want to talk about Kuga though. That's fine for now, but someday I need to be close enough with folks to have deeper conversations. If I didn't, going undercover as a civilian would be completely pointless as someone who wasn't from Samurai Town. My oh my, is that you, Soup? Oh, Mimi. While thinking to myself, I ended up walking in front of the tea stall where Miharu worked. Kuga's not with you today? Mimi too? He's such a popular guy. Kuga's patrolling on the opposite direction from me. He might pass by here sometime this evening. Goodness, that's not what I wanted to ask you. Huh? Oh, don't worry about me. I got pretty used to fighting while going on patrol with Kuga. I've undergone lots of training since then. I progressed so much I was now able to defeat a regular Blightfall on my own. Hey! You couldn't do that last time. Go. You go, girl. Although I wasn't able to kill them in a single blow like everyone else could, they now consider me a part of the Oniwaban's arsenal. We're patrolling separately like this because they all know I'm capable.
Wee.
Well, that's great, but that's also not what I'm worried about. Forgot. I already had supper, had nuggies. I'm full. Yeah, I'm talking about, you know. I did. Hey, banana. I don't want a banana right now. Meaning what exactly? I didn't even see what that was. You haven't done any servant stuff since you started working for Kuga, have you?
No.
You could. Oh, I don't know. Cooking meals or some sewing. All kinds of things. A bear!
Uh-huh.
I was wondering what on earth she was talking about. Miharu seemed to be fretting that I was doing an incredibly poor job, but I was utterly confused. Mimi. Didn't I explain this to you earlier? I work for Lord Yoshimune as a member of the Onlywa. Oh god. No. I spoke in a hushed voice, just in case, giving her the same explanation about my situation as before. I'm Kuga's servant in name only, just to cover so I can carry out my duties. I know that, but being the servant of a samurai is the quickest shortcut to marrying rich!
Huh?
Sometimes the lords you attend to fall in love with you at first sight. Other times it's their friends or relatives who take a shine to you. If not, you still learn samurai etiquette.
I don't think I own any yaoi. Surprisingly.
Huh. If not, you could still learn samurai etiquette, and when you marry and quit your job, you might receive expensive kimonos and dowry. And a dowry. So, be a gold digger. Truthfully, you can't get promoted into a job like this without knowing how to sing or play the shamisen. It's a waste not to take advantage of this opportunity.
A bike?
Meaning what exactly? You mean work hard so I can marry into Kuga's family? They think we're related, you know? Not quite, but if you married Kuga, I wouldn't worry about you at...
Oh, wait just a moment. I wasn't considering getting married yet in the first place. No! A fish! Fish. I don't get the marrying into wealth part either.
Really? I figured you became a servant to a samurai with your future in mind. No, you did it as a cover, Miharu. Are you to incest, Miharu? Do you want me? Weren't you talking about working at Yanagi Brewery with Yoichi originally? Things still weren't set in stone back then. Also, I used to have to keep my job a secret from you. I'd really appreciate it if you keep it to yourself. Oh, God. You know, Wincest is best says,
Miharu, shut up!
I see, but I'm glad. I'm sure working at Yanagi would have been an excellent wife training, but you're the envy of every girl in town serving as samurai. Haru, shut the fuck up. Come on, just stop it with your proving chirps, Kamame. Shut up. Kamame had been hiding in my kimono, but as stuck her head out at some point, she happily chirped in agreement. You think so too, don't you, Kamame? Girls think alike. Eat the bird, eat Kamame. Does Kamame really think that? Kamame. I had a weird feeling about all this. I mean, I get what you're saying, Mimi. I hope I'll get to be with the one I love someday. But being able to carry out my current duties means a lot to me, so I haven't given the future much thought. Oh, I know. It's not a job you could do if your heart wasn't completely in it. Still, as your big sister, I want you to be happy. I know your job means a lot to you, Soup, but you shouldn't sacrifice everything for it. I guess not. Exactly. What's so bad about prepping you for your future a little bit while working hard? Besides, haven't there been fewer Blightfall sightings since the Kamikiri case? I do it with lice in my heart and love in my hair. Yay. Yeah. She wasn't wrong. Blightfall sightings had fallen drastically recently. They didn't mean black threads, that is. Emotional imprints had disappeared from town, though. Blightfall spawns spontaneously every few days. However, the Blightfall that spawned were shockingly helpless. They were so easily dispatched, it was hard to believe the trouble the Kamakiri had put us through. Is that why they let me go on patrol by myself so soon? If this peace lasts forever, they might rethink how they treat you. How they treat me? They originally summoned you here because they were short-handed, right? If there was fewer Blightfall around, they won't need your help anymore. Scabies and constipation on my skin are... Yay, that sounds pleasant. Can humans have scabies? Well, you got ads, so... I'm sure you were prepared... I'm sure we were prepared for that to happen much later on, but that day might come sooner than you expect. Mimi. You see, she's not just worried about my job in the Oniwaban. She's worried what will happen to me after I leave. Like I said earlier, right now my mind was preoccupied with carrying out the role I've been given. Now with the Blightfall situation beginning to change, maybe I actually need to think about what would happen once I left Oniwaban. If you're interested, I could ask the owner here if he'll be able to hire you. Still, that would be such a waste. With experience serving a Shogunate retainer, you deserve much better than working at a regular old tea stall. Besides, you're cute, Soup. I'm sure you'll receive some incredible marriage proposals. Also, if Kuga actually did fall for you at first sight. Mimi, absolutely not. Shut the fuck up. He's weird. He likes to look at me when I eat with a weird glint in his eyes. I don't like it. Well, never say never. Kuga doesn't have a mistress of his own. It's true, but that's exactly my point. Because his heart is sealed away. He doesn't have interest in that kind of stuff. No way that'll happen. He's a vessel after all. Welcome back, Odin. And can humans get scabies? Or it's just like... I don't know. I felt a little bad that she was getting so excited over this, but it was hard to describe how I felt about it. A bike? Hey, why a long face? Kuga's not your type? Maybe you prefer Yoichi, like Komame here? Yoichi is better, but we're on Kuga's route. I guess Komame wants him. Just hearing Yoichi's name come up makes Komame happy.
So you should do his route. You should do his route.
That's not it. I don't really understand this stuff. I guess I did get a bit, pretty nervous when Kuga held my hand at the festival a little while ago. I was just bewildered by the unfamiliar contact is all. It didn't feel like love to me. Oh yeah? In that case, you should get to know him better. This is essential for your role in the Oniwaban, isn't it? Well, yeah, I think so. I don't think marriage is the only way a woman can be happy. I just couldn't help but suggest it because I can't think of many better samurai to marry than Kuga. He doesn't watch you when you eat, Miharu. He watches me when I eat. And it's weird. He starts to breathe heavily.
Yeah. Soup. You want more soup?
It's weird. Just as Soup and Miharu were happily gossiping amongst themselves. Oh, there he is. Ginjuro, the topic of their discussion, let out a huge sneeze.
Do I have a cold?
I don't know, you tell me. Although a bit puzzled, Ginjuro stepped into a narrow alleyway and continued patrolling. Found you. Oh, he had no idea a pair of glowering eyes were glaring at him from behind. So, a report for the day.
Soup, could you please?
Sure, I saw emotional imprints, but not very many. I saw no indication that Blightfall might spawn from them. According to the townsfolk, a fight broke out between some customers at the Drapier, but it was settled almost immediately.
I mediated a fight at the Drapier. Aside from that, no problems on my end either.
You mean the two you spent the entire day walking... Huh? You mean the two of you spent the entire day walking around town? Being way too peaceful around here lately. It really has. Like Yoichi said, it's been one surprising peaceful day after another. Since Miyagi was absent today, the Castletown crew had gathered at Yanagi Brewery to give our daily reports instead of the only one base. I've been trying my best not to miss anything and to talk to the townsfolk frequently.
Don't worry, Soup. Yoichi isn't accusing you of doing a poor job.
I haven't seen any Blightfall crop up. Not like what you both seen out on patrol.
What about you? Have you heard anything interesting?
Rumors, yeah. The idiot son of a daimyo having a fling with one of the servant girls. A Ronin who came to Edo to settle a grudge. The Ronin came to Edo to settle. That was fucking. What's his name? Tojo's route, yeah.
A grudge? Vengeance again?
A fling, huh? Well, that's no good. Although it's honestly nothing I haven't heard before. Flings and revenge were both shocking topics that had never even crossed my mind back when I lived in the village, but they were common occurrences in Edo. Mimi said every girl in town aspires to serve samurai, but hearing about this kind makes me wonder. Kuga wouldn't do anything weird like that, but I'm sure that's why she told me to do my best. What now? None of it sounds like a big deal to me. Should we call it quits for the day?
No, Blightfall might actually spawn from quarrels like these. We should do a little digging just in case.
Gotcha. Can I let you guys handle it then? Breweries are pretty slammed around this time of year since it's brewing season at the brewery.
Understood. Focus on your job as head clerk.
Thanks.
Let's go, Soup.
Okay. Which was how Kuga and I ended up going into town together for the first time in a while. Hopefully there wasn't, because I can't see redeems how I'm looking at this right now. Cool, we're good. Oh, will you look who it is. You two shopping for dinner together? I walked around town with Kuga in the glow of the sunset. It didn't take long before a talkative man from a renowned employment agency reached out to us.
Employment agency. Those in the business of helping people find servants or otherwise recommending capable people for hire.
That's a good sign.
We were, actually. By the way, I heard something troubling.
And then he went into the wrong house where a geisha was dancing. And that geisha was Taiyo Okuni. Apparently he flipped her likeness over when he saw it from behind. Poor bloke was banned from entering brothels like that. After that, ha 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 ha. Likeness, a painting of someone. That was a funny story. But we were wondering about a servant girl who was courted by a daimyo retainer. Well, I already told you everything. She was a strong-willed girl, but she took the severance money and threw a huge party with the man she fancied all along. The young man probably had more money than he could ever spend, so it was no skin off his nose. A happy ending for everyone involved. Peace. So much peace. It was almost putting me to sleep. Well, nothing beats peace for townspeople. In the end, the affair had already been sorted out, like the man from the employment agency had said. We asked him if he knew about someone trying to get revenge on anyone else in town, but he said that he didn't. Maybe it was just a rumor someone embellished a little bit.
There's also the distant possibility they were just talking about a Ronin with a grudge who came to Edo in the past.
I see. Oh well, even one person who needs to get revenge on someone is one person too many.
Indeed.
I only learned this after coming to Edo myself, but a samurai's duty of vengeance was an extremely difficult thing to carry out. Having their loved one murdered must have been hard enough, but they weren't deemed a fully fledged samurai until they exacted revenge for it. They had no choice but to leave their hometowns behind, disguise themselves as a Roiden, and journey until they killed their foe despite not knowing where to find them.
Soup,
Yes?
did I make you walk too much today? I can see it on your face that you're tired. Maybe we should wrap up soon, get some dinner.
Oh, that's not why I'm not hungry. Thinking about revenge soured my mood. Not that Kuga would understand even if I told him. I got it. Now's my chance. I was just wondering, what will happen to me if life continues to be this way?
This way?
Yes, like how peaceful it's been and how weak all the Blightfall are. I was talking to Mimi earlier. I was summoned here because of the relentless battle against the Blightfall. You guys might not need me once things are calmer.
Not a chance. Your powers are one of a kind. The Blightfall might be tamer now. But we have no idea how long that will last. Probably keep you here in Edo on the off chance something does happen. But the peace does last. The Blightfall subside to the point that we don't need to patrol anymore. You might be able to live life as a normal citizen instead of an Oniwaban aside from emergencies. Really? Yeah, it depends on what Lord Yoshimune thinks. But I'm sure he understands if that's what you wanted. Are you asking because you wish to be a civilian? Would you like to go back to your hometown?
It's not that. Although I'd love to go back from time to time to visit my father's grave, I've come to enjoy living in Edo. But if I could live a normal life, I'd like to be your servant, Kuga. Kuga looked at me curiously when I declared this.
My servant? But you already are. Is this some kind of kink thing?
That's just for carrying out my Oniwaban duties. I mean that like I'd like to be your actual servant. Not in that kind of way. Stop thinking weird. Mimi said serving as samurai is great work experience. It would come in handy in tons of different ways, whether I choose to get married or find a different profession.
Handy, you say? Well, that may very well be.
I don't have any way of saving up money, so I'm sorry if it's a bother to you, but I'd like to build up that experience serving under you, Kuga.
I don't particularly mind one way or another. You know about the Oniwaban. I don't need to hide my job from you, like I would around any normal servant. Don't get any strange ideas about life once there are fewer Blightfall around, though.
Huh? There weren't many of them before, right? At this rate, it's not completely impossible that things might go back to the way they used to be. What would you like to do if that ever happens and Lord Yoshimune says you're free to live however you want? Are you allowed to live however you want? When asked this question, Kuga was uncharacteristically silent. Maybe he's not sure what he wants to do? I figured he would want to continue being a castle watchman. I thought to myself rather breezily. Meanwhile,
why you always show your teeth face like that?
Huh? My silence continued even longer. I started worrying that I said something strange. I figured he might be mad or something, but he's not even capable of feeling that way in the first place. He's keeping quiet because I asked a difficult question. Is he... In which case, it didn't matter if he was mad. Apologizing and changing the subject was probably the best move here. I'm sorry. I asked you a weird question, didn't I?
It wasn't weird, per se. Apologies, but I didn't quite understand what you meant.
What?
We vessels, beings created to slay Blightfall. We vessels are beings created to slay Blightfall. There's no other way of life for us. If there are fewer Blightfall, we have fewer opportunities to work. Red alert! What? If Blightfall disappeared from the world, we'd simply be sealed away or disposed of. Oh no! How dare you?
Me when I piss on some dude's bed.
I pissed on some dude's bed!
He thinks you're a hot lizard. I gasped in spite of myself. Kuga's voice and gaze were both so gentle, it sounded like he was just talking about the weather. A complete mismatch for the appalling things he just said. At the same time, there was no emotion behind his words either. Lot lizard. Makes sense for him to think that... Oh, I did not know that phrase. Makes sense for him to think that since he's a vessel, but...
Like a two, you okay with that?
It's probably going to be the... You okay with that? Even though he probably has no opinions.
Wait.
Yeah.
Bra da 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 bra da 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 da. Wah.
You're okay with that, Kuga? Being disposed of because you're no longer serve a purpose. That would make me so sad. Especially when you worked so hard to fight Blightfall up until that point. He went silent again. Kuga didn't seem to understand what I just said. Then maybe I should explain a little bit more. Don't you want a reward?
Reward? Bitch, I don't have feelings.
Yeah. If you don't want anything, then you could at least get a few words of thanks from Lord Yoshimune. Or maybe a head pat? Do you like head scritchies?
Huh? I managed to confuse him even more.
I stressed out over to how to convey my thoughts.
I'm not sure I understand what you're trying to say, but... I know. We were born to slay Blightfall, meaning the best course of action would to be for us to disappear along with them.
Gulp. But it didn't seem like my reasoning had made it through Kuga at all. I refuse to accept that being thrown away is the best option. Not just for Kuga, but for all the vessels. We're only talking about what-ifs. Idle chit-chat had nothing to do with our jobs. That had nothing to do with our jobs. I probably could have just left it at that, but I couldn't stand the thought of letting the discussion in there without Kuga understanding how I felt. I hear that in the past, any vessel who regained their hearts and memories was disposed of. That rule only exists to keep vessels from having their minds corrupted by Blightfall and becoming an enemy themselves. If that weren't a concern, what would it matter if you or any other vessel lived however you wanted?
However you wanted?
Yes, isn't there anything you want to do? Like take a trip outside of Edo or experience what it's like to have a different occupation or class? Kuga went silent again. As the silence stretched on, I began to feel guilty. I had good intentions bringing it up, but maybe I'm just annoying him. From Kuga's, no, any vessel's perspective, disappearing with the Blightfall was leaps and bounds better than worrying like this. Maybe I was just forcing my human ways of thinking onto him.
I never thought about it before.
He said this after a long silence.
Since we lack hearts and memories, our thoughts and ideas are also limited in some ways. Talking to you is always a surprise. Nobody knows I'm a vessel has ever asked me... Nobody who knows that I'm a vessel has ever asked me questions like these.
Oh. He looked a tiny bit amused as he said this. And then maybe it just felt that way to me. You know, since I was a human and all.
Right. We might not have either of those things. We're all different in our own way.
In your own way?
Yes, Yoichi and I are different. Tominari and Kunitaka, Kinji and Otsuro, and Kyoshiro are all different from each other as well. Yoichi enjoys eating. Other vessels who worked for the Onigabon in the past have human-like hobbies too.
Like, if I remember, Kunitaka enjoyed smoking.
If we were to live however we wanted, some of us could probably immediately think of things to do. Nothing's coming in mind for me.
Is that right? I can tell Yoichi loves to eat, but I have no idea what Kuga likes even though I spend a lot of time around him. Does that mean he has no likes or hobbies? I guess it makes sense that he wouldn't know what to do if someone told him to do whatever he wanted then. Now that his response made sense to me, I felt a little relieved. He didn't want to be thrown away as soon as Blightfall ceased to exist. He just never thought of what would happen to him after the Blightfall were all gone. He's a lot like I was before talking to Mimi. I was only thinking of the tasks at hand. Maybe you should give it some thought, Kuga. Finding what you want to do Finding what you'd want to do might make you even more motivated to work hard, slay Blythefall, and bring world peace.
I don't think I need to, but I understand what you mean. If you say so, I'll give it some thought. But I have a hobby. I like watching you eat very creepily. By all means.
Although, like he said, Kuga is plenty motivated without having to think about this kind of stuff. Is it just me, or would this have been a little more effective on Yoichi? I kept walking while thinking this to myself.
Soup! Soup, soup!
Kuga suddenly grabbed my arm and pulled me towards him. What the fuck? The bridge gap between us all. What are you doing? What are you doing?
What? Quiet. Someone's been telling us for been telling us for a little while.
Huh? Under Kuga's warning, I immediately concentrated on what was behind me. Thanks to all the patrolling I've done as a member of the Onlywood Bond, I've become much more alert to the presence of suspicious people compared to before I came to Edo.
They seem quite skilled. I didn't notice them right away.
What do we do?
There's only one of them. They might be skilled, but I don't think they'll be able to fend us off in two or one battle. Let's lure them somewhere no one can see and ask them why. There's probably a reason they're doing this. Is that alright, kitten?
I'm sorry I said that. I don't know. I was like doing the voice. It's like, and I've started thinking about the Discord kitten thing. God.
Are you okay, kitten? Daddy got you.
After solidifying our plans, Kuga and I continued talking just like before after stepping away from the main street. Just when we made our way down to an alley. No one will see us here, probably. I glanced over at Kuga, who also realized this was the perfect moment. He turned around and spoke to whoever was there.
Hey, you! Yes, you! Oh.
It seemed to be a man, and a samurai at that. The silhouette of a man wearing a sword appeared where, just a split second before, he's been hiding in the shadows. He didn't try to run away. He was just staring at us, holding his breath.
I don't know who you are, but speak up if you have business with us. Come on out. What's wrong? If you won't come out, I'll come to you.
Tisk. After tutting sharply, someone jumped out of the shadows. Huh? A boy? I think he's a form folk. I see a wooden tag. He seems to be about my age, or a tiny bit younger. My eyes had correctly spotted the sword at his hip, though. He appeared to be a samurai, but his kimono was a little tattered and showing signs of hardship. And he's a form folk. Caught a glimpse of the wooden tag dangling from his neck beneath his collar. Hanzo Ishii? I'm Hanzo Ishii, the fourth of the... I don't know how to pronounce that fucking shit. Uemon Ishii brothers, and you're... Or was that who he was before? You were Gomon Akahori, aren't you? God, that's a... Gengomon Akahori, aren't you? After calling Kuga a name I never heard before, the boy named Hanzo quickly unsheathed his sword.
Huh?
This is for my father and older brothers. You know the drill. Fight me. Whee! Well, the timing of that beat. You threw a mic at me. A carrot.
Kuga!
Hanzo was quick to slash at him with his sword, but so was Kuga. He stepped forward and engaged him. Die! Die! Yeah, just be. Hanzo. Burger! Hanzo was the dictionary definition of the word reckless, desperately swinging his sword at Kuga. Kuga coolly fended off his attacks. It was evident who was more powerful here. He because of this. I wasn't terribly upset watching everything go down, but still. Please calm down and listen to what we have to say. We don't know Akahori, was it? His name is Genjuro Kuga. You have the wrong person. That was a heart.
Sweet, sweet, sweet. Shut up! He's probably hiding his identity. This man killed my father and brothers. I'll never let him live down.
So that's probably his identity before he become a vessel? He's not supposed to know that shit. Is this who Yoichi meant when he mentioned a wandering Ronin out for revenge? It's awful that his father and brothers were murdered, but... Kuga, I'm only asking just in case, but does the name Akahori ring any bells? God damn it.
No, I have no recollection of laying a hand on your father or brothers either, of course.
You're being mean. Damn you. You fiend. Oh, he's turning into a Blightfall.
A bike? A burger bike? Burger bike?
Oh god. You fiend. You upended my family. No, my entire life, and you don't remember a damn thing.
There's so many black threads and... Soup, he has a mask.
Yeah, he's spewing an incredible amount of black threads from all over his body. It's a pretty powerful Blightfall. What are you mumbling about? If you're gonna stand in my way, woman, I'll kill you too.
Soup! I'll be fine.
It's been a while since we fought a strong Blightfall, but the humankind only have 2 limbs. It won't be too hard to see his attacks coming. Blech. I pulled my knife out of my pocket, then Kuga and I surrounded Hanzo. Black threads poured from his body onto the ground in the meantime, but they formed pools of emotional imprints. Asking a woman to assist you? What despicable, disgusting man you are. Doesn't matter if you have me outnumbered. Prepare to die again, Gomon Akahori, or rather prepare for me to kill you.
I don't know what that stands for.
Slice swish. Eh. All he did just now was swing his sword. Remind me of a Kamaitachi, a yokai that rode whirlwinds, slicing people up with their claws. Oh. Formless blades protruded from Hanzo's sword, leaving deep cuts in the walls of a seemingly sturdy warehouse behind Kuga. If Kuga hadn't leaned forward, his face might have been cut instead. Is this one of Hanzo's abilities? Is a Blightfall? Bleh. Felt a chill run down my spine. If we let him get away with this attack, it didn't matter if we stayed a sword length away. How do you even block an attack like that with a sword? Yeah, how do you like that? How about I kill you with another one of those? You're a dead man, Gengomon. You'll pay for what you've done.
Bro, I don't know what you're talking about.
Kuga seemed to be on guard, waiting for Hanzo's next attack after the slash he unleashed earlier. However... Apparently the Kamaitachi type blade burst had been a one-time thing. No matter how many times Hanzo uttered curses and swung his sword around, nothing happened.
Enough!
Yeah. After exchanging blows for a short while, Kuga knocked Hanzo's blade out of his hands. Every time fight scenes, I just think about that one picture and be like, wow, the fight scenes in this visual novel is so heat. And it's like fight scenes for the visual novel, just see like a blades, like the blade slash thing, like, like wow, such action. After exchanging blows for a short while, Kuga knocked Hanzo's blade out of his hands.
Now, do you feel like calming down a bit and listening to what I have to say?
Damn it! When Hanzo realized his sword had landed out of his reach, his face contorted in frustration behind his mask. Although he was still spewing an impressive amount of black threads, he had no means of attacking.
Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Ginzoro Kuga, not the Gingoen Manakahori you're seeking revenge on.
But I know what he looks like, and... Then are you saying you met Kuga before? Why do you absolutely insist that he's this Akahori person you speak of? I never met him myself, but he matches the description of him perfectly. I mean, Kuga just happens to look like whoever he's trying to get revenge on? If so, how inconvenient was that? Even the vehement Hanzo must have been feeling a bit worried at this point. He was hanging his head in complete silence. The black threads had settled down too. Did it work? Then I glanced over at Kuga. He nodded like he sensed what I was thinking. Okay then, now to use the snow sacrament. Hanzo, you're so consumed by your desire for revenge that you're no longer a mere form folk. What? If this continues, you might cause harm to somebody besides your target. Is that what you want? I quietly held out my hands as I addressed Hanzo, hoping to help him understand what was going on. If I touched his body and prayed for his Blightfall-afflicted heart to return to normal, the snow sacrament was bound to work just like it did on Mitsu. Hanzo had been acting like a good boy, but then he reached for his hip. By the time I realized what was happening, it was already too late. Later, bitches! Bye! By the time I pulled out my concealed knife out, Hanzo had already dashed towards the main street. Shoot, he was just acting so he can make his escape. Kuga, I'm sorry. Bye! Man, he's quick. Kuga took off after Hanzo before I could finish apologizing. Guess I should hurry after him too. Are these pubes? These black threads he shed are leaving a trail like footprints. If I followed them, I might be able to keep Hanzo from slipping away, even though I wasn't as quick as Kuga. Kuga!
Soup? Sup, Soup?
I followed the black threads Hanzo left on the ground out to the main street, where I found Kuga standing still in the crowd. He must have lost sight of him because there are too many people around.
Apologies, Hanzo got...
He's over there. Hanzo's leaving a trail of black thread prints behind him. We're bound to find him if we follow the trail.
Really? Then by all means, lead the way.
Sure. Sure thing. It was a little difficult to spot them amongst all the people and the emotional imprints that were already there, but fortunately Hanzo's footprints lingered. This time it was Kuga following me through the busy streets. I'm sorry about earlier, Kuga. I let my guard down.
It's not your fault. I underestimated him myself. I should have maintained a position where I could have slain him at any time.
Hearing him say that gave me slightly mixed feelings. The snow sacrament used by Kuga and the other vessels purified their enemies by destroying them. Since Hanzo was a form folk, we wouldn't be able to do this without slicing into his original object, which was more or less the same as dying for humans. If a form folk's object was broken and they lost their human form, attaining a physical form a second time would basically be a miracle. I can't really say I feel bad considering Edo's peace is at stake, but... However, Hanzo became a Blightfall purely out of his desire to avenge his family. He must have grieved his family member's death that much. The thought of that alone made it feel a bit cruel to end his life by performing the snow sacrament on him.
Twilight is nigh. If we let him run loose, he might be able to become an even more powerful Blightfall. The imprints he's leaving behind could summon another Blightfall. We need to use the snow sacrament on him before that happens.
Right. He's right. We have no other choice. We had to stop Hanzo somehow. Eventually, Hanzo's footprints led us down yet another empty alley.
He might be waiting to ambush us. Don't let your guard down, Soup.
Right. Uh-huh. The footprints stop here, but why?
You there, are you okay?
I glanced over when I heard Kuga's voice, startled, and saw someone collapse on the ground a little further down the trail of black threads. Kuga ran over to help and found that it wasn't Hanzo, but instead...
You're the form folk that works at the Steam Bun restaurant, aren't you?
Is that you?
Gin?
How did I get here? I was just running the restaurant. He looked around in confusion before letting out a big yawn. Excuse me, but did anyone run over in this direction? Did you lose consciousness after he struck you, maybe? Did I? I don't remember anything after being at the restaurant. But maybe something did happen? I had a really nice dream. What was it about again? What in the blazes is going on? Hanzo's footprint suddenly vanished into thin air here. After telling Kuga about the footprints, we brought the form folk who had fainted back to the Steam Bun restaurant in search for clues. We asked what happened before he vanished, but apparently no one had seen it happen. We couldn't find an eyewitness accounts of Hanzo himself either. Is that right? You mean to tell me that all of this happened while I was at my cover job? This was after our unfruitful attempt to interview possible witnesses. We called Miyagi and Yoichi back to the Oniwan base so Kuga and I could report what happened. Another form folk turned Blightfall, huh? Was kind of hoping we put an end with that with Mitsu. Well, we haven't heard any reports of a Blightfall with a sword, or Blightfall spawning on their own, thankfully. You alright, Genjuro? Can't get any worse than being mistaken for the targets of someone's revenge. The color of the threads around Miyagi's neck caught my attention. His tone was calm and sympathetic, but his threads were tinged with a caution and worry, a complex color, suggesting he was looking for something. Meow. 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 Because I think that's his true identity before his heart was sealed away as a vessel. If he figures that out, they're gonna have to kill him. Am I imagining things? Maybe the light's just playing tricks on my eyes. Meow. Me. Seriously. Plus, the only thing that's similar about your names is the Gin part and Gingomon. Meow. Maybe I should put that on a longer countdown. Cooldown. Dude.
According to Hanzo, I match the description of him almost perfectly.
Yikes. Sounds like a huge pain in the ass. Did the form folk make sure to report his intent to the authorities? If there's record of it, we can learn what his background is all in one sitting. I checked, but I didn't see anything recorded recently. If he's already turned into a Blightfall, it's probably best not to assume he's following all the rules. So is there rules for revenge? Right, because Blightfall aren't human or firm folk. At this point, he probably doesn't care about his reputation or playing fair and square.
Think of it this way. If we need to take down the Blightfall, maybe we're in luck that he thinks I'm the one he's seeking revenge against. He'll probably turn up again at some point, just like he did today. When he does, taking him down shouldn't be a problem as long as we're prepared.
Yep, although we should look for Hanzo too. So basically, if Hanzo shows up, Genjuro's allowed to fight him. Based on what you told us, he sounds like a pretty dangerous Blightfall. The act of seeking retaliation lends itself to negative feelings. There's a high chance he might get stronger and cause other Blightfall to spawn as you fear.
As strong as you are, Ginjiro, you'll be in danger if he attacked you while you're by yourself. While you were riding.
I knew it. Miyagi's just worried about him. I was too. Kuga always seemed to seem like a skilled swordman to me, but if Hanzo uses that whirlwind attack again, as powerful as he was, Kuga would have a difficult time handling it on his own. Why don't I help guard him then?
What?
Why do they look so confused? Miyagi looked puzzled, but so did the two vessels who didn't have hearts.
Absolutely not. Ginjiro hasn't sunk so low that he needs you to protect him of all people.
But I'm my only one bond too. And you trained me yourself. Even in a real fight against a Blightfall, I could...
You've been fighting small fry. You wouldn't be any help against the kid Ginjiro fought today.
Indeed. You suck.
Not Kuga too.
As my martial arts master, I knew Yoichi couldn't help but be harsh. Still, it made me a little sad knowing that even Kuga thought I would be useless in battle.
He's just that formidable of a foe. Though I have to say, Soup did an excellent job probing Hanzo and telling me what was going on by looking at threads.
Kuga?
Really? Sounds like she got a bit more training going out on patrol with you, Ginjiro.
I did. I wasn't much help in battle, but I managed to make it back home in one piece.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, but I'm not so sure we should rely on you to guard him, Soup.
Wait, of course not. I never actually intended to be his bodyguard. I was thinking I could be more of a messenger. If something happens to Kuga, wouldn't it be better to have someone around to call for help? I'm officially Kuga's servant, so no one would find it suspicious for me to be with him all the time.
True. Gotcha. Not a bad idea, then. You should have said so earlier.
I tried to tell you, but you sent the conversation veering off in a weird direction.
You're right. Yoichi has his job as head clerk and Lord Miyagi has duties of his own. Asking them to guard me day and night would be very inconvenient for them. Sir, Soup's idea makes sense to me. Permission granted?
I'm not sure how I feel about having a young girl her age staying with a man who lives alone. But you're a vessel. There's nowhere safer for her to be. Alright, I guess she can. Hear that, Soup? He said yes. Do a good job.
Thank you, I'll do the best I can. Woo!
Much obliged. In that case, you'll need to act as my actual servant instead of just pretending.
Huh? I gotta do actual work?
Well, gotta worry about what other people think, I mean. If acting's good, I love to lie around whenever I don't have any Oniwa Bond work to do.
Oh, right. Even Yoichi works as a head clerk instead of just pretending, even though it's just a cover.
Got it. I'll put my best foot forward there, too.
Female servants typically prepare meals, clean, and do other odd jobs, that sort of thing.
I see. I was really grateful for Yoichi's advice as a more experienced servant than I was. Alright, I'll do my best to be both Kuga's guard and servant.
Blech. How long is this chapter? Goddamn.
Hey, Soup.
Huh? What's the matter, Kuga? Is it you-know-who?
Nothing of the sort. You're tensing your shoulders too much. You'll wear yourself out doing that. Starting tomorrow, we'll do our rounds together instead of going on separate routes. In other words, you'll be walking twice as much and also doing more servant work.
But as long as I don't miss Hanzo's footsteps, I'll be able to detect any potential danger before anyone else.
Right, which is why I like to see you hold steady and assert yourself over a longer period of time. My guess is that Hanzo won't strike tonight. He could sense that I overpowered him, which is why he put on a show to make his escape. He'll attack next when he's strong enough to defeat me. I'm not sure when that might be. There is no sense in guarding me if you run out of energy halfway through, so you gotta bring up that endurance. So you're saying it's not good to use all my strength all the time? Right. Not the only one preparing for him to attack. I am too. It's just like when we're doing our regular rounds. I'll find anything you might overlook, and vice versa. So relax a little.
It was true. I've been tensing my shoulders ever since I left the Onlywood base, and it was just the two of us. No. When Yoichi was training me, he told me overexerting yourself for no reason leads to mistakes. It probably applies when on guard duty, too. Got it. You're right. It's okay if I make a few mistakes here and there since you'll be with me.
Right. That's my duty as your senior.
On second thought, it's a little awkward for me to think it's fine to make mistakes in the first place. However, based on the way he was nodding his head in agreement without the slightest bit of concern, Kuga felt the same way. I'm thankful he's such a caring guy. I'll try not to take advantage of that.
That reminds me, I meant to ask you. What are you doing for supper tonight?
Oh, I was going to make something when I got back. It's already late though, so I probably won't be able to make anything fancy.
I didn't make my own food before, so I don't have any ingredients to cook with at the house.
Really? Then how you make those rice balls for lunch the other day?
I planned ahead, knowing I need to do a stakeout. I don't do anything that elaborate when I'm out walking around.
The rice balls were delicious, but elaborate. He must not know anything about cooking.
There aren't any street hawkers around this time of night, but the rice vendors and grocers have closed, so we should probably eat out. What do you think?
Street hawkers. Those who walk around carrying a pole on their shoulder with baskets of wooden buckets hanging on both ends, hawking their wares. I don't mind at all. When you say eat out, do you mean at a stall or a restaurant?
No, I mean a different way. Something along those lines, yeah. Maybe at a izakaya since they serve drinks.
Izakayas? I've seen them before, but I've never been in one while out on patrol.
I didn't think you would. You stick out like a sore thumb since they don't often have young women come in alone. That's why I left them out of your assigned route. We're heading somewhere open all night, meant for those heading home from the entertainment district. All the more reason you've never been there alone. Their food's delicious, and the owner's a good man. I'm not sure if you'll like it, but it's a good place to gather information.
You must go there a lot then. I need to act like a servant so no one will think anything's up. I already spent a bit of time patrolling Castletown as Kuga's servant, but that didn't necessarily mean I got to know all of his acquaintances. I would be meeting a lot of people for the first time if we went to places I wouldn't normally go. I want to make some connections for my future Onlywood efforts, especially since Kuga trusted me to go on patrol by myself after all the hard work I put in. Well, starting tomorrow, I'll be back to going on patrol with Kuga. Still, he's also letting me be his guard because I proved I could patrol by myself. Went back to the basics and properly introduced myself as his servant, Soup.
Soup.
I forgot how long the chapters are in this game. Wow. Nope. Will I ever use the game chat? Oh. Wow, are you getting servant? Heard rumors about you. You're real after all. Yeah, I am. He's very good to me. Don't doubt that one bit. Outstanding samurai like Injuro are hard to come by. You found a real great place to be a servant. Hey, careful what you're saying. She's a relative again, so she probably comes from samurai stock too. I'm sure she's not amused listening to you criticize samurai, you know. Oh no, I'm not a samurai lineage. I might be a relative of his, but I'm a very distant one. Oh yeah? So how you end up being his servant? My father was an old friend of his. I used to live out in the country. While there, I met the owner of an oil shop called Toda's, and the owner's servant of foreign folk.
Stretch. What?
I haven't been bombarded with questions like this in a long time, but I was used to it by now. I'm glad I followed Miyagi's advice and didn't lie about where I was from.
Blech.
If I fibbed and said I was a city girl raised in Edo, or the daughter of a samurai family, I would have been caught a long time ago. I see. You must have been through a lot. Now I'm kind of curious. How many other servants does Genjuro have besides you?
Huh?
Oh, you're right. You got me curious too. He constantly stops by this dump to eat and drink even though he's a shogunate retainer. He's an odd bird, that Jin. He cares about us ordinary folk like we're his own because he's such a friendly, warm-hearted guy. But his lifestyle is a complete mystery to me. For sure. Come to think of it, I'm not even sure where in Samurai Town his house is.
Kuga!
Kuga sipped his sake silently, although it wasn't clear if he realized the other customers were looking at him probingly. I never intended to ask Kuga directly. They apparently been hoping to clear this up through me from the very start. This was Kuga we were talking about after all. If they asked him, he'd probably effortlessly sidestep the question away. Looking at their threads, I could tell they're curious because they like him, not because of any bad feelings. And with my own backstory down pat, we never decided what I should say about Kuga. How did I get this far without being asked this? Maybe they were all just holding back because I was never in a situation where they served alcohol? I got in a big head about doing a bang-up job on patrol and pretending to be a servant all on my own, but maybe I just gotten lucky. Just when I lost all confidence in myself. Thanks for waiting. Here's the stewed octopus, simmered ham, and grilled sardines with miso natto soup. Oh. The server brought out a ton of food. Almost as if to fill the silence I created because I was so stumped.
How's it look, Soup? I know they're just appetizers. Will this be enough to fill you up?
Yeah, it looks really good.
I'm sorry, but do you mind letting us focus on our meal? Our food's here. I need to watch her eat.
Sure, sorry for interrupting. Enjoy, sweetheart. This place doesn't look like much, but the food's great. Their alcohol is unfiltered, but they don't cut it with anything, so you get nice and drunk.
That's awfully honest of you.
Phew, managed to get away from that topic because our food came. No, because Kuga put it into it. I was this close to going too far and saying something that might hurt Kuga's reputation, so I was utterly relieved to be free.
Don't be shy. Have as much as you want. It is not enough. Order more of anything you like.
Thank you. Aren't you hungry, Kuga?
I don't have much interest in eating. I get full just from drinking, so please don't worry about me.
Oh, really? I guess he prefers drinking? His expression hasn't changed, but I can tell that he thinks his drink is... I can't tell if he thinks his drink is good or not. As I thought about this to myself, I reached for the stewed octopus with my chopsticks and brought some up to my mouth.
This is delicious.
Oh, so you can tell how delicious the food is, huh? Can't wait to see how good of a cook you are. Wait, me? A good palate for flavors shows in your cooking. A good palate for flavors shows in your cooking. Genjuro, do you let her make all your food?
That's the plan.
Must be difficult to please Kuga when he has such a discriminating palate. You see, Genjuro is a real gourmet. He drops by eateries all over Castletown in search of delicious grub. Oh. Is that what this townsfolk assume he's doing because he stops by so many restaurants to gather information? Knowing the truth that Kuga doesn't actually have much interest in food made this feel like one heck of a misunderstanding. Kuga remained silent and didn't deny it. Of course he wouldn't. Their assumption was far more convenient for him as the only Waban. He wouldn't think of correcting them. Even if he wasn't, it must have been rough being Jinjuro's servant. He's a real thorough, strict guy. I figured you were the daughter of some samurai family looking for work as a live-in servant, hoping to marry. Turns out you're just a girl from the countryside.
You seem well-mannered. Not that I'm trying to nitpick or anything, but I'm a little worried you're not cut out for this kind of work.
Yeah, a girl from the countryside. I couldn't really object since I actually was one, but then...
Soup does a perfectly fine job.
The other customers gasped at Kuga's brief, calm, yet very clear objection. Kuga? Once my reputation was so bad people were bad-mouthing me behind my back, their opinion of me as a servant had nothing to do with my Oniwaban duties. This was why I planned to let the misunderstanding slide, just like Kuga had when they said they had a discerning palate, but I'm over the moon. I wasn't sure if he said that out of concern for me or he really thought I was doing a good job. I didn't know Kuga's feelings and I couldn't see his threads. It was hard to tell what vessels thought when they used such different logic from humans and formfolk. But... alrighty then, glad to hear it. Sorry for sticking our noses where they don't belong. You must really be doing a good job for Genjuro to speak up like that. Keep up the good work.
I will.
Thank you very much, sir. Oh, thank you very much. I hope to be in your service for many years to come. Before I knew it, I was bowing my head deeply from the shoji chair where I sat. It really felt like I was Kuga's servant now. I truly sincerely wanted to work hard alongside Kuga from here on out.
That's weird.
Jin.
Sir? It's nothing. I hope so too. I think I might have a thing for... power... Never mind.
He also lowered his head in a bow, although not as deeply as I did. I feel like he stiffened up a bit just now. For a moment I panicked that I confused him by saying something weird, but that didn't seem to be the case. Alright, your drinks are on me. Drink as much as you want. I don't...
She doesn't drink. May I have it instead?
Good on you, Jin. Now you're talking. Thanks in part to the kind things Kuga had to say about me, I fit in right after that. I thoroughly enjoyed the delicious food and laid-back conversation. Whoa, is that your manor, Kuga?
Yep, that's where I live.
Amazing. He's almost as grand as the Oniwaban base. Can't believe he lives in this by himself. That said, I've been sleeping over at the base almost entirely by myself. My living situation hadn't been much different from Kuga's.
I know the topic came up when we were at the izakaya earlier, but I haven't told any of the townsfolk about this manor. I try to keep the residents of this neighborhood from knowing it belongs to me. It makes it easier to walk around as part of my duties.
Makes sense. Should I be careful about going in and out then?
Yes, Samurai Town is limited to foot traffic, so no need to be too wary. I usually try to enter through the back door when no one's around, though. I should be able to show you around in peace since it's dark out. Come with me. The manor is fairly large. Most of it goes unused except where I sleep. I spend most of my time in this room. You remember where the restroom and washroom... You remember where the restroom and the washroom are, right? It's late, so I'll be heading to bed.
Sure is. Well...
Your bed, I should still have... Your bed. I should still have one Yoichi used when he lived here. It gets cold just before daybreak, so here, use this kamimaki. Kaimaki.
Kimono-shaped bedding with sleeves. Smaller than a sleeping kimono with very little cotton. As he talked, Kuga took 2 futons out of the closet, laid them on the tatami mat, and set out the kaimaki and wooden pillow for each of us. Right, I'm sleeping with Kuga because I'm guarding him. It's my idea to guard him because no one will think it's strange for a servant to be around all the time, but I said we'll be sleeping in separate rooms. I'm glad this happened before I asked him something boneheaded, like where I'd be sleeping. He would think that I need to be more like a guard. I get the sense that Kuga would never think that, but I hate to jinx it right out of the gate. Oh, then I'll change into my night clothes. Do you mind turning around for a moment? Oh, not that I think you're interested or anything. I just don't want to sully your eyes. No, wait! I'm sorry. Please do whatever you want.
Huh? If you don't want me to look, I'll turn around. It's not that complicated.
Kuga said this before turning goes back to me, sitting cross-legged on his futon. Wah! Other than my father, I never slept in the same room as a man my whole life. It's making me so nervous I'm saying weird things. Since Kuga was a vessel. No, wait, given his personality, he's never done anything up toward, even if he weren't a vessel. I'll change in a hurry so I don't keep him waiting at least.
I'm putting out the light now. Good night.
Okay. Listening to my kaimaki, Kuga reached out and extinguished the flame in the lantern, darkening the room.
Oh, maybe I should have said goodnight.
Even I thought it was ridiculous that I was fretting over something so minor. Simply tilting my head on the pillow and thinking Kuga just being there beside me made my heart beat incredibly loud. I just like imagine her like laying there like, forget, should I say goodnight? It was like a long silence and like out of nowhere. It was like 5 minutes later, she goes, good night.
You must find it difficult to conduct yourself around someone like me compared to normal humans and Forfolk.
That doesn't have to do with that.
If something bothers you, feel free to tell me. Like when I took you by the hand earlier.
Oh, what a fucking flashback. Oh.
I didn't mind that. I was just really nervous. Were you?
Oops, I got carried away. I bolted out of bed. I took that moment to yank my slightly askew clothes back together. Kuga remained lying down and looked up at me, watching quietly as I did so. Yeah, that's why I asked you not to let go of my hand. Oh man, what did I just say? My face was red, and with Kuga's eyes on me, I was too embarrassed to look back at him. No, you're being cute right now, Soup. You're so cute. Plus, I averted my gaze and settled back into my kaimaki. Kuga continued on.
Understood. Never intended to cause you any undue worry. I'm sure you'll have plenty to say since you aren't used to my lifestyle, like taking tub baths.
Tub bath. You're gonna show me what it is? Tub bath. Bring water into a wash bin using the water before. So a bath in a tub.
Well, yeah. I know you need to fulfill your bodyguard duties, but do whatever is easiest for you. I praise you as my servant. You do well enough in that respect since it's not your actual job to take care of my day-to-day needs.
Kuga, he's really just being considerate. Considering how vessels were built, he was only doing this to make his mission go smoothly. Before this, I always felt a bit confused anytime I realized this. And now it makes me so happy. I'm grateful. Now it wasn't just my cheeks that were flushed, my chest was warm too. For long, I was no longer worried about sleeping alone with a non-family member. I just felt relaxed. It reminds me, you said Yoichi originally used this futon. Did you and Yoichi live together before you left to work at the Yanagi Brewery as a servant? For some reason, I can't picture that at all. Huh? Kuga had apparently falling asleep at some point. After Kuga struck up a conversation with me too, maybe he was going out of his way to talk to me even though he was really sleepy. The thought made me grateful all over again. We'll absolutely protect him. And I'll be useful to him as a servant too. Genjuro didn't respond to Soup's declaration. Genjuro didn't respond to Soup's declaration. Oh, we're in his perspective now? However, a faint smile tugged at the corners of his mouth as he listened to her talking quietly to herself. Chapter! Yep. Stopping place. Boy. Well, I know this game's a lot longer than even if Tempest. I want to kind of. I'm wondering if I should like try to grind it out like I did with even if Tempest, like keep on going like consistently, trying to really push through it. At least just try to finish Kuga's route for now. And because I do have another game I want to integrate, but yeah, usually like the ones with like samurais, like this vibe is like don't usually like catch my eyes and stuff, but I don't know. The last route was cute. This one's kind of cute, even though I've been kind of turning Ginjiro into like a creepy feeder dude. At least I don't have his. At least I don't give him a lisp anymore. That that fucking lisp.
Yes. Yes, my Discord kitten.
I don't know. I don't fucking know. Okay. I hope I can really keep up streaming more consistently this coming year. Like I felt like this past year was really my beginning as a VTuber. I guess it was like I continued the journey, met some really cool people. Yay! I want to keep doing this for sure. But yeah, I'm gonna skedaddle. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.